my podcast, Ethical Hacking is and Wholesomeness. Let's start with a disclaimer. Uh, we
Yep,
are not
I hear
doing
you.
anything suspicious here. We are just going to share knowledge and talking about cybersecurity related stuff and hopefully inspire some people to enter the industry, to start their new careers in cybersecurity, maybe to become a pen tester, who knows? Whatever, anything could happen today. Why am I here? The goal of this is I'm a penetration tester and I was terrified of public speaking, so I started a podcast to put myself out there forcefully. Now I'm like maybe a bit braver about it, but like the whole purpose of this was also to highlight people that are important to me, important to the industry, and share really cool stuff and their knowledge with other people. And today I wanted to introduce Zach Hill. I want to ask Zach to introduce himself because I think he would do it best. Yeah, can you introduce yourself now? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Zach Hill. I actually work with Dorota now at Black Hills Information Security, which is crazy to think about. And I know she feels the exact same way. Um, but I've been working in IT for the last 25 years or so. I started my career honestly from dropping out of high school. I dropped out of high school when I was 14. I had a lot of depression, anxiety, and things like that. Things I still battle with, things that I still talk about to this day. I'm not ashamed or afraid to talk about those things. I think they're very, very important. And those are all things that are part of my journey that make me who I am today. Um, and if it wasn't for that, like I wouldn't be here today. But when I did drop out of school, I gravitated towards the computer and the internet. And this was back in 1998, 99. And those were relatively new at the time, or the internet was relatively newish and becoming very, popular and things like that. And I, you know, spent a lot of time just learning everything that I could about computers and the internet. And I eventually started like building websites and did that for about 10 years or so, made a career out of that. And along that whole time of like doing websites and things like that, every time I would mention that, people would be like, "Oh, you must know everything about technology and computers," which is not the case, right? Like if you're a web developer, like that doesn't mean you know anything about hardware, right? You might know how to set up a WordPress website and know HTML and JavaScript and all that, right? But you might not know anything about hardware. So there's always like that misconception. I think we still have that misconception often today. But I'm like the type of person who doesn't like to say no to people, and I always like to help. So anytime somebody was like, "Hey, do you know how to do this?" and I would be like, "Well, maybe I could figure it out," and that's what I did. And it, that's when I, as that kept happening, as more people kept asking about more things that weren't related to websites and things like that, I discovered that I actually had more of an interest towards like infrastructure. And then I shifted my whole career in like 2008 to be more infrastructure related. So started doing like help desk and did like system administration work. The last, like I say, like my last actual real job working in IT, I was doing mobile device management and security awareness training for a hospital, and that was in 2018. And it was, yeah, right around that time where I was gravitating towards cybersecurity. I was really finding like that was my interest. That I think that was my passion. That's where I wanted to be. After like I think all of the years of working in the field, security was like the one thing that ultimately I think was like the holy grail to me in a way, like the ultimate like achievement of getting to be a cybersecurity professional, if you will. And this is even way back in, like I said, like 2018 or so. Um, Always been kind of like a passion of mine, I guess. Um, but yeah, I guess after in 2018, I ended up doing YouTube full time. So um, the IT Career Questions YouTube channel has been around since actually like 2014, so going on 11 years. But I started that channel much in a way to how Dorota explained what she's doing today is to share knowledge, to help people, to give other people an opportunity. That's where I think the entire existence of that comes from, is just wanting to help people. And I still continue to do that today, I guess, right? Like that's yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just like thinking about like the whole journey. So I'm like reminiscing in a way, but it's been a wild journey. Like doing the YouTube stuff and all of that because it's led me to a lot of really cool opportunities. Like now working at Black Hills Information Security with Dorota, which again I cannot believe. And to explain that to you all, I Dorota has followed me since I don't know if it was that when I was before working at TCM Security or while I was
Before.
working at TCM. Yeah, before. So a long time, like you followed my journey, like my last 5 years or so. And I've got to follow your journey because you are one of those people who, for me, really stood out in what you were doing. And I cannot tell you from my perspective and all the things that I've done and worked on, like how much I appreciate that and how much I appreciate people like you who put themselves out there because I know how difficult it is. Like, I do it. I know this is difficult, but to put yourself out there, to be vulnerable, if you will, um, it it takes a special person to do that for sure. And you are a very special person to do that. And like the heart and the passion that you put into it, Dorota, makes me so incredibly happy and it encourages me. Like it keeps me going knowing that there's more people coming into this industry who want to give back. I cannot I literally cannot tell you how much that means because without people like you giving back, like the cybersecurity industry community would not be what it is because this is the one community out of all of the different like career related community like fields and communities and whatnot. I think that stands out far above the rest in like collaboration, communication, and just like overall like I, I don't know, like positivity towards one another in a way. Um, and yeah, again, you just don't experience that all the time. So I just want to say thank you to you, Dorota, for doing everything that you've done in the last 5 years and getting to this point, and sharing your knowledge and giving back. I'm very, very proud of you. I've watched you struggle through your journey. And it literally brought tears to my eyes when I saw the email come through that you were hired at Black Hills because that was something I just never in a million years would have thought would have been possible because you live on the other side of the world to me, right? And I've followed your journey for many years, and now to be working with you is one of those I don't know that anybody could like explain that what that feeling is like unless you've been through it. And I want to ask you, and I know this isn't what this is supposed to be. So what is it like for you now to be where you're at?
It's really wild and like high five for like working together. I would not never if you told me that I don't know 5 years ago, and I was like actually looking up to you and your journey. I felt like, oh, Zach is so cool and like yeah, he's amazing. And pretty much I felt like I was thinking the same thing that you were probably thinking about me when you were following my journey. So when I was starting up, I was like a gray mouse. I was like super shy and like pretty much. Uh, I don't want to like start crying now, but like I pretty much was invisible. I felt like that, and then I forced myself to uh, be open and like very vulnerable because I had this like idea of like putting myself on a display so other women and like other people could see that it's possible. Like if she did it, like then it's possible for me because sometimes people don't believe in themselves enough, and I've been through that. I was so shy that I had like social anxiety. I had problems like having like a normal conversation with people before, and like I went like so far. I put so much work into myself that I can have a podcast right now. So it's like it's a wild journey and like a lot of work that went into that. And also, uh, I when I first started up, there was like this big conversation about starting up in cybersecurity and how difficult it is, how impossible it is, and like people just like giving up on their dreams. And because like they felt just like, oh, I cannot do it. And I even like heard, like I was in a meetup for women in the Netherlands, cybersecurity team, and one of the ladies said, "Oh, I want to apply to this job," and she started to say what all the requirements are, but they want this, 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 this. I don't have this certification. I don't have this skill. I will not send my CV because I don't think they will hire me. But I felt like, oh, this is so stupid because if you don't send that CV, you will never know. But they maybe are not really looking for a unicorn. They really don't want you to have all of those skills. They just are looking for like a perfect person that doesn't exist. But if you will never know if you don't send that CV. And also, then like in that moment, I got. Maybe it's like maybe too personal to share like on a podcast like that. But I went through cancer, and I I put all of my like attention when I was like sick, not into feeling like bad for myself, like, oh, I might, I don't know, I feel I'm very sick, I might die, like, oh, boohoo, like instead of thinking like this way, I decided, okay, I really want to be a penetration tester, and I'm going through some things right now. They told me to rest, but I don't really have. I'm too. They put me on a medication that it's like impossible for me to rest. But so I want to put all of that energy into learning how to be a pen tester. So that's what I did, and that's why I'm sharing. So people could like know that you can go through like very difficult things and like impossible things, and still go on the like went go out on the other side of that experience successful, and like have an amazing job, have create an amazing career for yourself just because you didn't give up.
That's,
And
I mean,
yeah,
I
and you
I
just
love you. I
wanted to learn,
appreciate you so
yeah.
much. Like, I'm so proud of you. So proud
Thank
of
you.
you.
I was actually I'm still like I'm proud of myself, but I'm like still like learning how to say that out loud. So it's also like a big deal for me to actually be where I am right now, because I thought like this is impossible, like when I first started, it was like, oh, I really want to work for like a cool company like that, but like how can I achieve that? It's like I'm in Poland, no one, like how can like make people notice me? So I just made people notice me by like going on the internet and like putting myself in a good light, and like saying about myself that I'm amazing. And so other people would like see me as an amazing person that I actually am, but like I needed others to believe in that, kind of in a way. So that's like building a personal brand is about to just put yourself out there and like, yeah, like start sharing what is like special about you, what makes you stand out. Like maybe you have like a special, I don't know, like talent. Maybe you're into hardware hacking, and that like is something very special about you. Maybe you love social engineering or like creating badges, or like you are very good at CTFs, and you're like on the top score. They're like a god of hacking. I don't know. So if you start sharing that on the internet, then other people will like see you as that person that you are actually. And because if you just sit in your basement and like, oh, and think in a way, oh, I hope this company will notice me, I hope they will give me a promotion, I hope, I don't know, this happens. But things don't really fall from the sky if you don't go after it and don't go and like grab it. So you just have to be very proactive about your career, like what you want. And that was pretty much my idea, and like why I did it. So thank you for actually asking that question.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm so proud of you. And I've genuinely wanted to know what, where your head was at with all of this and how you were feeling, because again, I've watched your journey, so it's interesting to see, it's interesting, it's wild. There's so many different thoughts I have about it. So I don't know. I just
Yeah,
love it.
like, and also like me as a woman, it's like a very like male dominated industry. To have like this level of success is like, it's like amazing. I like the, I mean, that's why I'm doing that, so other women could like see that, and like it's possible for you. But like I had so many people are like uh resonating with what I'm saying, like liking me, and like having this like genuine uh intention of helping me out. And like I would never like imagine so many people like stepping up and trying to help me and like trying me to give me opportunities and like trying to like even like create like a ladder with their hands so I could like step on it and like
Mm.
be somewhere else. So I'm like super grateful for like the community is like the best community that you could be in. And like before I asked another question, I wanted to thank my subscriber because I just got 2 subscriptions and this is like amazing. I'm grateful. So I'm going to change the screen for a second. Thank you, thank you. That's like really, I'm super appreciative of that. And my next question is, I want to ask you about you again, but like in a different way. Who is Zach, and what makes you smile? What makes you happy? And yeah, what is like the thing that sparks joy for you?
Yeah. So who is Zach? Um, and what makes me happy? I definitely like my family, my children for sure. Like those are just like staples. I feel like I have to say. But other than that, my work, honestly. I feel very lucky to be where I'm at and doing what I'm doing. Like again, I mentioned like the IT career questions channel earlier and kind of like what the purpose was there to help people. And I get to carry that same type of purpose along with me at Black Hills and anti-siphon training of just helping people. So that, gosh, that for me is that sparks joy, sparks happiness. I love seeing people who come back months later, years later, and saying it wasn't for like you guys and what you did, and the opportunities that you provide, like they wouldn't be where they are today. And I get to see that a lot now. From like IT career questions, from anti-siphon training, like you're proof of that right here, right in front of me, So like this is what keeps me going, is just seeing like the future of security. And that probably sounds really, really cheesy, but like I'm very passionate about like technology, and I'm very, very passionate about helping people. So I don't know, the fact that I get to like combine those two things together, and that's my job, like it's surreal for sure. Um, yeah, I guess like outside of like doing all that, Magic the Gathering, I'm a huge nerd. So that's it.
I
That's
love
all I
that.
do.
And actually, like, look, because if you read any like motivational book or like any like self help book, and I don't know, like all of the motivational quotes, they tell you to find a job that makes you feel like happy that you're doing that, and then you will not feel like you're working at all, because I kind of like what I see here is like you're living a dream of like a lot of people, that you have like 2 passions that you can do like for like a whole day and then getting paid for that. It's like, I don't know, it's like really wild and
Yeah.
amazing. I'm really happy for you.
Yes.
And i
Thank
do
you.
i do like think that you are a very kind and an amazing person. So your success like makes me super happy, and like I'm like, yeah, my heart is like very like slow.
Thank
So
you.
yeah,
I
thank you
appreciate
for
that.
sharing that.
Sure.
Okay, so my next question, thank you for like answering, and my next question will be, what was that spark, that thing or event that made you realize, yes, this is it? When you first entered cybersecurity, are there any specific initiatives or projects that you're working on or recently would like to share? There's kind of like 2 questions in one, but if you could
Yeah, the
like,
initial spark
yeah,
for security, for IT, like I feel like those are
you can share
two
both.
different things. Yeah. My first initial spark, I think, with IT was actually like when I was like 11 or so, and we had this computer. Um, it was like an old like Packard Bell or something, and it would always just like reboot, and I didn't know why. It was running like Windows 3.1 at the time. Like that's how old it was and how old I am. And yeah, it was just like reboot like randomly. And I don't know, for whatever reason, like I was like, what are these screws on the side of this case? And I just started like unscrewing it. And then I got to see like the inside of the computer. And that was like the first moment where I was like, what the heck is all this stuff? And how is it making it like show up on the screen? Right. Like that was like very, very intriguing to me. And I think it was from like that moment where I've always just naturally gravitated toward like technology and trying to have like an understanding of it. And then yeah, it wasn't probably until like when I dropped out of school, when I was like 14, where I really started to take advantage of that like curiosity and really like dive deeper into it. And then it was probably like 2016, 2017. What is it? Maybe I don't know, what was it? Uh No, yeah, maybe it was around 2017 because I think it was right around the time of like WannaCry maybe, where that was like I think like the thing that really piqued me the most, I think, where I was like really started diving into that and learning about it and understanding more about security. And I was like already kind of I think making the push with that work to do like our security awareness training. Um and because I think it ultimately just like aligned with like helping more people, like I was kind of getting bored of like doing sysadmin stuff and all of that. And I didn't really see like the purpose. I didn't see if like I wasn't finding like the I wasn't finding any fulfillment in helping anybody, I guess, with that. And then with like security, I was like, oh, this is like a way that to like overall help a lot of people and in a way. Yeah. It was just like a weird way of thinking about it, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. That's I guess probably what sparked it initially though, is like probably a mixture of work and WannaCry and all that. I don't know. Hackers was like my favorite movie of all time, and like I have like a quote tattooed on me from Hackers,
Oh,
and that was from like 1994 or 95, and I was like 10 years old, and I was still like it was one of my favorite movies back then, and I didn't know anything about hacking or computers then, but I was like that helped pique a lot of I think of just interest, curiosity along the way too. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things, honestly. And I'm just like going through and thinking about this. It's just like there's probably a lot of things that really like kept pushing me in these directions.
for
I don't.
me,
I love it.
actually, like what like sparked like okay, make me remember that I wanted to be like kind of like a hacker slash programmer kind of like a person was Mr. Robot. And it
Yeah.
was like the funniest thing, but it kind of like I wanted that when I was a teenager, and then it didn't feel like it's this opportunities available to me when I was like thinking about going to computer science. So I went study economics, and like fast forward, it felt like I wasted like 8 years of my life working for local government and like not doing what I actually dreamed about doing when I was a teenager. So kind of like Mr. Robot reminded me of like, okay, I wanted to be this person. Like, why did I forget about this? Like, this is insane. So yeah, it's like the funniest thing that sometimes pop culture, like movies, TV shows, like spark something in our hearts that like pretty much change our lives. So yeah, I
Yeah.
I wanted to share that.
Yeah.
And there is question in the chat for you.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm
I
going.
can read it.
Okay,
Or
okay.
okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
This. What is your strategy for time management and balancing skill ups versus free spare time? Thanks for the question, exploitation. And I'm honestly the worst person to ask that question to because I have ADHD and I am one of those people who tends to wait till like the last minute on a lot of things, and that's honestly from what I've discovered when I get some of my best work done. And it's very, very unfortunate. And it causes so much anxiety for me. It's really, really, really bad. So yeah, I'm like terrible when it comes to that because like also the next part of this is I sacrifice sleep so that I can do the things that I want to do. Like it's not the most healthy thing at all. I don't recommend that to anybody. But there's just so many things that I want to do with my time, and there's not enough time in the day. Like working 8 hours, I have 4 children, and then I have passions and hobbies, that I want to attend to, and yeah, I probably get on average like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night just because I stay up later so I can do the stuff that I want. Again, not I don't recommend that. Um, there are there's so many people who are better at time management than I am, or just I don't know. I feel like maybe don't have as many like passions and stuff that I do. I always think about this because I was like, how do some people just like go home from work and then just like watch TV for a couple hours and go to bed? Like, I don't, I don't get that. Like, I'm not that person. I've never been that person. It's just like I get off of work and like I have like 12 other projects on my head of like these are things that I want to do. And I'm constantly just like trying to like go through them and like knock some of them out. And they're all things that like I love and enjoy. So yeah, it's difficult. It's super, super difficult to manage time. So
I do.
I'm
That
sorry.
that's resonated with me like so much because I have ADHD as well, and I have like a million ideas per minute and a lot of passions. So then like I I go cycling, or it's like I have to choose in between going cycling and like learning electric guitar, or like I don't know, writing something, or watching a TV series, or like it's like so many to choose from. But like what helps me, maybe I don't know if I can answer that question a bit. So what helps me, I have created a Kanban board with like completed to do in progress sections, and I I put all of my ideas in that Kanban board, and then like I see what is doable, what is maybe in my imagination more, and then it's like I can manage my time in a way. So that helps me, but like not really with like managing my passions. So it's some of the passions are like me maybe not touched for some longer time then, but yeah,
Mm. It's hard. It's very, very
yeah.
hard to manage time.
But actually, what you said also like being like some people are maybe not super happy in their lives because they don't do things that spark joy for them, that make them happy, that or like create that create excitement in their life. So you're doing that, so I think you're like already on a good track, or like being a happy person, I think, because you're spending time on like your happy projects and like something that makes you happy as a person, and not only like work sleep and like work sleep and work sleep again. But yeah, I think it's important in life to have like this balance.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do without like that's what I often like I think about other people and like what they do with their time because like I'm always doing something or always wanting to do something. I my brain never stops. So yeah, exploitation. You're very welcome for the unpolished truth. Um, again, I don't recommend it by any means.
Okay, thank you for that answer, and also like resonated with me. So I added some commentary there. So my next question that I wanted to ask was, uh, what are the real issues and problems the cybersecurity education faces now, if in your opinion?
Oh, man, the real issue that cybersecurity education faces right now.
Yeah,
I-
are they any?
yeah, I think there's a lot. I think there's too much education that's out there. And not that that sounds terrible, right? But for somebody who's like trying to figure out what they want to do in security, like it's overwhelming, like how much information is out there. And that's where I feel like, people like you and hopefully like others who are just trying to put like better things out there and be more helpful can direct people to the right places because like I worry about people like getting into boot camps and things like that because those are just like terrible and a waste of money and very, very, very expensive, and that's always like a trap for people. um so like those are huge issues I think with like the educational part of things. um I also think certifications are a bit of an issue because there's even more of them, nowadays, right? Like there's more and more and more coming out, and they say this is from a company who's going to be releasing one ourselves. But what we are seeing with a lot of the certifications is that they're not realistic enough or practical enough. They don't really align, I think, with like the current industry, so they're like a little bit behind. They're expensive. They're not a guarantee by any means. And there's a lot of bad, I think, marketing, around a lot of that. So like that's I think another maybe problem with like education. Like I could probably go for a while on like different things that are like kind of issues, or whatnot. But um at the same time, it's just like it's amazing that there's that much information out there because we never had that before, you know. But it's like it's such a like a what however you want to call it, like it just it's one of those things that I've been flow or whatever. Maybe that's not the right analogy that I'm looking for. Um, it's just so difficult for people who are coming in. Like we have not made it easier for people to get into security. We've made it more difficult, and I think we've made it more difficult than made it easy. That's my big issue. Is we've made it more difficult with everything that's happening nowadays, I think.
Uh, yeah, I really actually what you said. I really had the same issue that you just mentioned. That when I wanted to enter cybersecurity, there was like so many like things that I had to learn and like so many certification, and I was pretty much paralyzed with like not knowing which way to go and what to do with myself. But what I like noticed that if you read job descriptions, then pretty much you can find out like get like a basic level of knowledge what is expected of you from employers, and then maybe that will be like a basic of, because I didn't have a mentor. I pretty much was trying to figure out everything myself, so no one was there to tell me like, oh, do this, but you can like maybe research that yourself sometimes. Not everyone knows this, and it's like very overwhelming, I know, but if you look into job advertisements even, then that's maybe helpful a bit. But like what people are like struggling with is the lack of like mentorship, like maybe a, one source that they could go to and like get the I don't know, like shopping list of you need to do those things, and then you can apply for jobs. Like maybe that would be helpful. And I do see those posts coming up on LinkedIn and becoming very like successful when someone just is sharing a list of resources or like what to do to start in cybersecurity. So I think maybe that could be, I don't know how to resolve that issue.
I
That
have a fix.
yeah.
I've had the fix for many years, um, and it's apprenticeships. That's honestly like that fixes the industry in so many ways. I don't. I truly believe like that IT as a whole falls more on the lines of a trade now, more so than anything else, and that apprenticeships could be established to pipeline everybody throughout this field where we need them to go by actually training them with what they need to know, right? Like actually like getting them on the dang keyboard, doing all the things that they would actually do rather than all the theoretical BS stuff that you find in most of the certifications and things like that. That's like a huge frustration for me. I wish we had more apprenticeships. I wish we could go down that route because I feel like it could truly change the industry in a very positive way. And then like have more. We'd actually have skilled workers.
Yeah, actually, I even today I got asked like, how can I get a job when I'm going on job advertisements and all of them want 2 or 3 years of experience. So your idea is brilliant in my like what in that context. So
Yeah. So Kim Mura here in the chat says apprenticeships would just be abused by companies and still back to the we only hire unicorns. I mean, I think everything can be abused and everything already is abused at this point anyway. Um, but I would hope that by going down an apprenticeship model, we could look at like, different trades like your pipe fitters, your electricians and things like that and look at how they have those kind of set up in that regard rather than the in a company kind of dictating how an apprenticeship would go. I would more look at it as like you have these trade halls. You have like a cybersecurity apprenticeship, and you have your networking apprenticeship, and they would be like you have your cybersecurity union, or I hate to use that word, so please don't whatever on that word, but whatever we want to call it, right? But then you'd have like your networking union and your cloud union, right? And it's just like within each of those different areas, like that's where you're, doing the whole apprenticeship model and then pipeline of putting the people out there. And there needs to be a government regulation or some other body starting companies have to have cyber sec people instead of just buying insurance. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. It's just a thought. Like, I mean, I like the apprenticeship thing. I've been on that tirade, I think, for like honestly almost 10 years. Like, I could probably go back on the YouTube and I know I have a video. I have multiple videos where I've talked about it because I feel like that would be a huge help for the industry. But that's like a hope and a dream for me.
How I hope it will be like a reality soon, because it's a brilliant idea and it will be really resolve the issue, because actually you will like, even if when I was entering the cybersecurity, I just found an employer and asked them, do you hire people without experience? Because I knew that they will teach me on the job. So but not every company will give you that chance, and like will spend resources on you to teach you how they do things. But yeah, I wish there's like a way to like help people to enter the industry, because we really like need some solutions. Oh, doggies, that will like help us here.
One second. Okay, sorry.
That's fine. And so my next question is, I know the answer is a bit, it depends, but yeah, if that's
Yeah, here you do it. Sorry.
that's
Uh,
fine.
trying to order a coffee. Oh, sorry. What was the next question?
Yeah, I got distracted. So my next question is like in a bit like it depends, but I'm really curious what your opinion is on that. Like, what would be your answer? So, what advice would you give to young professionals just starting out in cybersecurity, and where would they where should they focus their efforts and skills?
AI. AI, hands down. Honestly, if you could have asked me this like 5 years ago, my question would have been, or my answer to your question would have been Google. Like, learn Google, because like that's going to be the resource that you are going to constantly be utilizing every single day to help you. And that's still true. But like these days, like AI, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to take your job by any means, but it is going to help you. It's going to help you significantly with your job. It's going to help you significantly with your learning experience. And again, it's not going anywhere. And I'll say that multiple times. We're stuck with it. So if you're not going to learn it, like you will now be left in the dust because somebody else is going to learn it and just be leaps and bounds ahead of you, because they'll be able to actually like use it, use all of the different AIs and LLMs and the GPTs to their advantage. Um, that's I think one bit of advice that I would give, and I hate giving it honestly because it sucks, but like really it's just like if you're not going to get on board with it, like I feel like you're going to be left behind. And it's the same thing with Google. And it might be like weird for people to hear that, but it's just like there is a stark difference between like a normal person who uses Google and us who utilize Google, right? Like it is night and day difference, like what we're able to accomplish just utilizing some different like search parameters and things like that to find exactly what we're looking for, right? And it's just like Chat GPT and all those things are the same exact way. Like you're going to have a standard person who's just going to pick it up and be like, here's a very basic prompt and you'll accomplish something, a little something. Then you're going to have your power users who like, they know how to prompt and they get like just, amazing results. And like, that's kind of where I see like part of this, I guess. So I guess to answer you in part, like, yeah, I was like, learn AI. And then to go back to something that we talked about earlier is just like don't get overwhelmed with the amount of information that's out there. I think you brought up like a checklist. I think that's incredibly important to utilize in your learning journey is having a checklist and just initially kind of like outlining like here are the things that you want to learn, and just go through the checklist. Just worry about getting like through the checklist before you start worrying about everything else, because you're constantly going to be bombarded with like new information and really really cool stuff in like security that's like you're gonna have like even if you're not ADHD, like you are going to have a squirrel moment, because like whatever new tech or thing that you saw is going to be so freaking cool to you. But just write it down and come back to it later, and just keep going through like your checklist, keep going through like your learning process, and don't worry about how long it takes you. It is not a race. Like every single day that you work in IT and cybersecurity, you are learning something. And if you're not, like, I don't know what the heck you're doing, because like every single day there's something new, there's something different, there is something to learn. So like you're always going to be going down a learning journey in this industry. So don't ever worry about having to learn something ASAP, like as soon as possible, or like that's not a thing that you need to worry about. Take your time and learn at your pace, and you will be okay. I think that's like honestly the best bit of advice that I could give.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I would like also I give like my own example when I was trying to pass ICP, and I made it into like this huge, like I was thinking about like all the things I have to know to pass the ICP, and it made me look like I'm this tiny, and ICP is like a Goliath, a monster. It's like so big, and like how can I like do this? And but like it's better to think about like not the whole big problem like with all of the tiny things, but only focus on the next uh, tiny things. Like you have like a goal, but then like switch it in like tiny parts and only focus on the next tiny part, next task at hand, and not think like about everything, because you will overwhelm the health out of yourself. But like if you focus on just being good at the next tiny thing, then I think that's manageable. I think you can, like, for example, learn Nmap, or yeah, I think that's doable, right? So,
Yeah.
so I think that would be my maybe. That's how I'm starting to doing things, like only focus on the next thing and not to overwhelm myself, not to think about 50 things at the same time. I don't,
Yeah,
I don't know. I hope that's a good
yeah, it's helpful.
advice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Thank you. So my next question is like a bit weird, but you can answer it like however you want. The question is, how do you measure success of your company, and what are some of the most notable achievements to date? So you can answer about your company, like who you work for right now, or you can answer about like not as a company, but like as Zach Hill, like what are your achievements?
You, people like you, right? Like that's
Oh,
that's how I measure success though. Like that is the only metric that I will ever care about, is seeing the success of other people. That is quite literally the only thing that I care about. I do not care about money. I do not care about anything else other than seeing other people do better than me. That has always been my purpose. That has always been my mission. Like, I want to see everybody else do better than me. And like, I think you kind of said earlier, like, with everything that you went through, like, you know that it's possible. Like, you went through some very hard things, and you are still able to get here to where you are today, right? I went through some what I would consider terrible things, not nearly as terrible as what you went through, right? But like for what I went through, like it wasn't fun, right? But I made it here where I am today. And it's like I know that if I can do it, like anybody can do it. So for me, like anytime I see somebody, like post like, "Hey, I got a new job," or like just a thank you, or like that's success. That that is all I need, and I get that every single day at Black Hills and Anti Siphon. I get that through doing like the IT career question stuff, like that. I don't. Yeah, no, I don't. It's like I feel like not a lot of people believe me um, when I talk about this type of stuff, but it's just like that's really like. that's what keeps me going. You know, I would never be where I am today without like the whole entire like communities, you know, that I've had supporting me throughout like this journey. And it wouldn't feel right for me to not support the community back. And that's all that I feel like I'm trying to do now, is just constantly support everybody else and see them be successful. So yeah, when I see that success, when I see somebody post that they got a job, when I see somebody post that they got a certification, when I see somebody post that they completed a CTF, you know, like that's that's my that's my validation right there. Like that's everything for me. Like, and then again, for some people, it's probably cheesy AF, but like truly, like I don't know. That's why I wake up every single day.
It's a great answer, and actually that's why I go on LinkedIn to. It's like I stopped watching news because news, like, what they are really doing is like inducing fear in you. But like I go to LinkedIn because it's like my good news portal where people are sharing their jobs, their new achievements, the certifications they gained. I can see people like they are learning, they're like striving for more, bettering themselves, and I love LinkedIn because of that, because I can just wake up in the morning and like see someone succeed today. So I do. It's not easy for me as at all, because I feel the same way, and I do really want to give you a hug right now because you're an amazing person, and like I'm so blessed. I feel so blessed
Are you
that
going to
I.
Denver?
Uh,
Are you gonna be in Denver or no?
no, but I hope I will be in Deadwood next
Deadwood.
year. Fingers
All right,
crossed.
Deadwood. We'll hug. All right,
Yeah,
I
let's
got you.
let's give like like I loved Deadwood. Like it was my first time being in Deadwood this year, because I got like so many hugs from people that I just met first time in person, and I knew them for like few years online, and it was like my, I don't know, I felt like I'm coming back home in a way, although it was my first time there, because I was so welcome in the with the from the community, and like from like all the people from Black Hills, and I even like even the scene I was put on as a speaker, I was at the big scene, and I talked with one of the people from the help desk, and he said, "Okay, you're on the scene," and I was like blown away. And he was like, "Oh, of course, we put good presentations on the big scene." I was like, "Oh, that I'm so grateful." Like through the community, yeah, I talk a lot, but like this is like the whole idea that I was really happy to go to Deadwood, and like also to Denver as well, but because of the like community and like how welcoming people are there. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Oh, I love that. I love it. And Hexploitation said sharing with the community and helping others on their journey always gives them the same vibe as leaving the forest in better shape than you found it. And yeah, I definitely agree with that. I a lot of me, I think like my hope is like whatever it is that I do and whatever impact that I have on somebody, it encourages them to do the same thing, to pay it forward. Like, and by no means do they have to like go like to maybe the extent that I have by any means, but just pay it forward. You know, like that's really what it is. I don't know. Again, probably cheesy, but it's it's true. Um, S3 Boom says LinkedIn is okay, but it's a bit overwhelming when you have a family and children. Everyone bombards you with the fact that they are sitting for 10 hours nonstop and gaining skills and new certificates. There is no life, just a race. I mean, so I guess to that point, and one of the things like I agree with you, Dorota, about LinkedIn, and then I disagree with you about LinkedIn, because I do love the fact that like LinkedIn, you can go to that platform and you can see the success of people, which is really, really great. But like you have to go into LinkedIn with like with one foot in, one foot out. And what I mean by that is all your and this is social media period, but like all you ever see is people's best life, right? Like that's all you ever see posted on social media is like the good things. You never ever see the bad, right? You never see that. So that's what I think for like makes LinkedIn especially very, very difficult for people in this industry, especially people who are trying to get into this industry. Is you're constantly seeing people's success. You're constantly seeing them post their new certifications and what they've learned and all of those things. Like it is a constant bombardment of everybody's like success always. And then you're constantly weighing yourself against them, just nonstop. And whether like you realize you're doing that or not, like it is just part of like the human experience that now like you are like, okay, am I not as good as this person? Like, oh my gosh, they just started studying for this certification like 3 weeks after I did, and they passed it before I even scheduled mine. And like, and then you're gonna like, right, like that stuff happens so often, right? And then you beat yourself up for it, and it's just like it goes back to what I said. It was like this is not a race at all. Like you can't compare yourself to other people. And like Heath Adams from TCM, he always says like comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And like I will constantly like like reshare that forever because it is so incredibly true. Uh, you cannot compare yourself to people in this industry because spoiler alert, and I'm sorry to break it to you, there are smarter people than you in this industry, and you should be thankful for that because that gives you an opportunity to learn. Like I always say, like I feel like the dumbest person in the room when I'm in a meeting at Black Hills. I truly feel that way, and I kind of love it because like I know I have an opportunity to learn from every single person who's in a meeting there. Like I truly like I love that about this industry too. Yeah, sorry, I went like a little bit different on that, but anyway, yeah,
Yeah, it's okay,
that
but I do agree with you that yeah, you cannot compare yourself to other people because, and also like you have the, like people ask me like, how do you find time? Like I did was asked that. So how do you find time to all do all of that learning? But I mean, everyone is different. Maybe I'm a bit too extreme. Sometimes I just sit all weekend and do one course after another because I just feel like this passion for learning. And sometimes I'm super hyper and I just got like I have this skill of learning a lot of things in a quick time. But you cannot compare yourself to people that everyone is different, everyone has a different brain, everyone has a different life situation, everyone had like a different life upbringing. Maybe someone started with like I don't know, in a very wealthy family with like a beautiful house, a lot of opportunities, but maybe you were born in a family that were poor and not very wealthy, and you heard a lot of no's from your parents when you wanted like something. So you cannot compare yourself to others, but like what I trying to say and like I also do in my own life, that is you have to work with the skills and like the time and opportunities that you have at hand, and also try to be grateful for like what you have, like try to like appreciate like and like notice what you already have available to you at the moment. And I don't know, not compare yourself to others because you're unique, you're a different person, and yeah, everyone is different, and maybe that person that you think is amazing and so successful is only like sharing things like I don't know for the social media, but maybe in their like private life they're like really struggling. Maybe I don't know, they have depression, or they're burning themselves out and like barely I don't know, barely there. So it's no need to compare yourself. Like that's what I was and thank you for like saying that as well. Okay, my next. I cannot hear
I
you.
was like talking. It was I muted myself because I was coughing and I forgot to
Yeah,
unmute.
yeah,
It
it's
was
okay.
me. But I had so many thoughts on what you said because I just agree with a lot of it though. But it's yeah, so true.
Yeah, if you want, then you can share.
It slipped my like it escaped me because of the mute thing. Like like I forgot because I was the mute threw me off and
True,
now I
yeah,
can't
I
remember what
get
I
that.
said.
Maybe you will remember that later, so you can still add that later. But like my, because you on your LinkedIn profile you talk about creating IT futures. So my next question is, can you talk about your vision for creating IT futures? What does that mean for you?
The apprenticeships for sure. Um,
Yeah.
no, really, I what that looks like for me, I feel like it's what I've been doing the last 11 years with like IT career questions. I feel like that has created IT like yeah. If I look at which I don't do often. I think I do it like once a year. I'll go and look at like the analytics of the channel, and I think now it's over like 22 million views since it's been started, and that's an insane number for me to think about. Like 22 million people like looked at that channel, and there's like 300,000 subscribers, so it's like I could safely assume that out of like 22 million views and like the amount of subscribers that not everybody's going to subscribe and all that, but I've probably helped like a million people. Like I would probably say that that's pretty safe to
Wow.
say, and like that's insane, and I don't think I've ever said that out loud. Like honestly, I don't think I've ever said those words out loud, but that is insane to think about. Like the amount, like just that, and and even just thinking about 300,000 people is just like what the heck to me, Um, I I guess for me, it's just continuing everything that I can to help people. So I don't know entirely what that looks like right now. I don't have like the best answer for you right now, because for me, like I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing and should be doing with my life and helping as like people. Period. So it's just like no matter what, I'm going to keep moving in this direction and finding ways to do that. Like, I don't think I would ever be happy doing anything else after this. Like if I didn't work at Black Hills and Anti-Site, like I would be somewhere else doing something very, very similar because that's my purpose.
That's what I was actually taking a note of. Wanted to say out loud that y- when you were kept saying like talking, that I had like this thought that you were put on this world for a reason, and that you are fulfilling your life's purpose with your work and helping all those people. So yeah, I mean, good job there, Zach.
Mm.
You're yeah.
So the for a very long, for probably like the first like 8 years of like the channel, like my banner on YouTube, it said technology is my passion, helping others is my purpose. So like that, and then it might that's taglined other places too, but like I've always like stood by that. Like, yeah, that this is my purpose. This is why I was put here. I feel like because nothing else in my life has made as much sense as what I do now.
I love that for you. I really
Yeah,
do.
that's weird. Yeah, it's like being like 40 years old and like like finally figuring that out is different. Is weird, and that it's crazy to me. Like saying that too, because like so many people have come to like us and like whatever, always like, am I too old to work in IT? They're like 50 years old, and it's just like, they're sick and tired of like doing whatever it was they were doing, and they're like they want a new career, they want to do something new and exciting and different, and like technology is that thing for them. And it's just like you just found like this new excitement in your life, and I am so excited for you. Like nothing can stop you. Like nothing, like it's incredible. I don't know. Yeah, sorry, my mind was like all over the place with that, but like I just like think about like all the different like, yeah, I guess things that I've seen and heard and, yeah, kind of dealt with over the last 11 years of doing this type of stuff. Like the different types of people who've come through. I don't know. Anybody can do this, I think, is just where I'm getting at.
Yeah, and my input to that, what you just said, is it's never too late to
Yeah.
change, and yeah. So I changed my career in my 30s. So I don't know. You would think that maybe I was too old or something. It did cross my mind, but I don't know, if you still have the passion and you want to do it and you want to put an effort in it and you still want to learn. I don't know. I think we were put on this world to just be happy and like create good lives and be like fulfilled in our lives, like enjoy to have like enjoyable lives, not that like enjoyable in a way that you just go to a pub and like drink alcohol all day, but like to give out something to the world. And people were like, I think the purpose of human beings is to create something. We are creators, so It's also like wild that AI is now creating art and music. It's like what people like want to do. But and yeah, so but that's what I believe, that you are never too old, and you shouldn't like think that it's like too late for me, or like I don't know, I'm behind in the race, or like there is no race. It's just like you try, hopefully figuring out how to live a good and fulfilled lives, and uh, be happy in your life. And like when you be on your deathbed, then you hopefully will think, oh, I had a good life, I'm ready to go, so that's how I understand that. And like we have a kitty here, and I'm really
Yeah.
happy that we have a extra guest
Asher,
here.
it's my boy. Yep. It's like the
Oh,
best cat I've ever had. He's my buddy.
I love that. Say hi to Asher and give him extra pets from me.
Oh, for
and
sure.
and my next question is, can you share some insights on latest cybersecurity threats and trends? What do you think is driving these shifts, and how will they impact our personal and professional lives, in your opinion?
I feel like a broken record. You know what I'm gonna say, right? Somebody
Yeah,
put it in the chat for me. It's 2 letters, but it's AI, right? Like
yeah.
I have a lot of concerns with that on so many different levels. Um, I don't even know where to start with it ultimately, like to answer your question entirely, because yeah, um,
Then maybe I can ask the next question,
I-
because it's actually AI related. So you can then answer all of them at once. So the next
okay.
question is, how do you think we can better prepare ourselves for emerging threats like AI powered attacks and quantum computing? Maybe that's like,
Yeah,
you,
I mean, it goes back to, I think, what I said earlier,
yeah,
just like learning more
learn,
AI,
learn.
really, right? Because like that's the thing about it too, is just like it, it's going to be utilized in so many different capacities that we're not even aware of yet, right? So I
Yeah,
feel like it's very, very important to understand as much as you can about like the different aspects of what AI, GPT, whatever you want, like all of that, like what they are capable of, understanding like especially what the output looks like. I think that is like the most important. And if there was like anything that I could really like stress to people who are not technical, is to learn as much as you can about AI, and especially like just utilizing it in any capacity to understand the output. And that's something I think is very difficult to learn. But I think for people who utilize AI often, we can easily spot, you know and I think there might be a point in time where that's not going to be the case, where we're going to be easily be able to spot these things. But for now, and for the foreseeable future, right? Which foreseeable future could literally be like 3 weeks at this point, and there could be like a new update, and we would never be able to spot the difference, right? That could happen, like because that has been AI for the last 3 or 4 years or whatever, right? It's just like constantly like evolving into like WTF just happened, how are we doing this now type of thing, which is insane. But I really feel like everybody needs to be utilizing these technologies just to understand like the capability of it, and again like the output of what they are able to release. That way people can start to hopefully recognize more and more like what is real and what's not real, or have at least be able to question things a little bit better. I think that's going to be very, very important, because I think the biggest concern that I have with AI, from like especially a cybersecurity perspective, is scammers. I feel like scammers are like once they, which I'm surprised like they haven't entirely like figured it out, but like once they really figure out this technology and how it can they can utilize it for what they're doing, that's going to be very scary, like very scary. And that's where I think like the entire population should be understanding, utilizing these things and questioning things, um, because we are going to, I think yeah, the scamming portion of it, yeah, that it really does concern me. And I bring this up because like um The moment that I found out 11 Labs, if you're not familiar with what 11 Labs is, you can voice clone anybody, anything,
Mhm.
right? So I did it to myself. I threw in a couple like transcripts or audio, like recordings of me, and it cloned my voice, and I wanted to test it. It's like, okay, we're gonna test this out. I called up my mom on the phone and had the phone, like I had it on speakerphone, and I just used the computer, and it's like, hey mom, how you doing? Blah blah blah. And I was like, hey, I forgot my social security number. Do you have it by chance? Can you grab that for me? And she was like, yeah, hold on, no problem. And then she starts to read it off to me, and I hung up the phone. And then I FaceTimed her and I showed her what I did, and she tears in her eyes, and I was like, this is a problem. Like, this is messed up, right? Because like I didn't say a word that entire conversation. I physically did not say a word. Like, I typed on the computer, and it was my voice entirely, and my mom had no idea. No idea. And she's about to read off my social security number. Like, that is terrifying on so many different levels, right? So it's like, I don't think we have not seen the extent of what that is going to bring to the overall, like, like, just world, right? Like, that's where my mind goes with, like, the concerns in cybersecurity and things like that more. And I think that's just because, like, background of doing like security awareness training and things like that. So I don't have necessarily like more of a technical like concern on it, other than like I, it's evolving so quickly. I don't know what's next, and that's scary. Um, but I would imagine like you as a pen tester, right? Like, you have so many different concerns, than I would about like the more technical aspect of it. But the non-technical, like more non-technical aspect of this, like, it's just utterly terrifying to me.
Yeah, it's for me, it's a very like social engineering aspect of like already social engineering is like using human traits, like very human traits of empathy, of wanting to be liked, of like wanting to help, and that's what you just said is being used against human beings, right? With those kinds of scams. So it's scary for me as well, and also like seeing pictures, generated pictures of people from few months ago to seeing like the new versions. It looks like a picture, like I don't know, like someone took a picture, and there's no like additional fingers. There's no like nothing suspicious in the background. It looks like some I don't know. It looks real to me. So maybe it's going to teach us that we shouldn't trust what we see. We should always verify, and I hope it will happen. Like sometimes we just like believe someone that we hear the voice and we believe that this is this person, but actually we should confirm. Like maybe it will teach us that we should confirm before sharing
It won't.
any
It won't.
information or like bank details or
It won't.
yeah.
I hate to say that, but the reason why it won't teach us that is because somebody is already working on an application, something, a browser plugin, a phone, whatever, to detect AI, right? So it's like you're already gonna have. So this is the problem with it, right? Like, you're gonna have some types of applications that are meant to detect these things, and at the same time, you're gonna have all of these hackers, like, unethical hackers trying to bypass these things. So it's just like gonna be a constant race, just like what we do now with like spam, right? And like emails and all that crap, right? It's just like it's a constant rat race of like trying to figure out how to like stop that stuff from coming through. It's gonna be like, I feel like very similar with like AI. It's like, yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to develop some types of applications to detect these things and to notify us. But at the same time, like, we're still going to have many concerns where like it's not going to be picked up or seen or whatever, right? Because yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I hate like because human relationships are based on trust. So I really hate that we would have to like a bit evolve to be like I don't know, a bit more suspicious of each other and I don't know, maybe more paranoid. So yeah, I hope it would not happen, but maybe that where all of this is going through that we have to evolve just like questioning everything. I don't know. I think it sucks a bit.
I agree. You're not wrong.
Okay, I want to ask a question from a totally different barrel. I want to ask about creating content now. So, can you talk about your approach to creating engaging content for cybersecurity professionals? What types of topics and formats do you find most effective?
Um, I we I kind of go a different route with this one because there's so much content out there already in cybersecurity that focuses on a lot of the technical things. I'm not that expert, so I focus on more of the technical or not more of the personal approach to anything that I create or want to create. Is I want that like whatever it is, I want it to impact somebody in a way that makes them think about something, right? Like whether that's like helping somebody, whether that's like thinking about like a training or something like that, or whatever. It's really about like what is it that I have to offer that can help you rather than like I I think a lot of people look at content like especially people who typically create a lot of content like look at it as like how is this content going to help me, right? Like that's a I think oftentimes how people go about that. Where I always looking at content is how is this going to help somebody else? So that's I think like first and foremost like what goes into my head when I'm going to create something is like what is this going to do for somebody else? If it's not going to help somebody else, I really don't want to make it then, you know. Um
Yeah, that's
and
a
then I
great
guess
approach.
then and is it am I being authentic and genuine in what I'm sharing and what I'm saying? That's also very very important to anything that like I'm putting out there. Um because I don't want anything to ever come across non-authentic or genuine, I guess. Right? Like I don't know if that kind of like makes sense, but it's just like these are like things that like are constantly like in my head when I'm going through and like trying to figure out whatever it is that I'm going to create. And I think that I think about like other people who create content a lot when I'm creating content because I'm like thinking about the things that I don't want to do and the things that I want to avoid as I'm doing it. Um, so I don't know. I guess that's more of my approach towards things.
I love that. And I mean, because I don't know, maybe that's like uh, unpopular opinion. I don't know, but I don't. I what I'm trying to create. I hope it just helps us. Yeah, let's get back because yeah, I see like a lot of influencers on YouTube and on LinkedIn, and a lot of the content is a bit like clickbait form, and I don't like that at all. And I do feel like a lot of people that are creating are making I don't judge. I like just like my opinion. They're like doing that for money or for clicks or for fame or I don't know for any like for anything
Mhm.
like that. But like what I'm trying to do is like, and I felt bad about it. Like I'm creating content as well, but it doesn't get as much like I don't know. People don't notice it as much as like content with pictures that are like very like I don't know, controversial pictures with like people like I don't know, holding
Mhm.
their faces in between their hands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like
Yeah.
I felt bad about that, and but then I realized, but I don't really care about like fame or like the clicks or I don't know many views or like any of that. I just what I actually am happy about is like if one person had like took something out of what I created and saw value in that, that's already my win. I'm happy with that. So if there is
That
like one person, then yeah, I'm happy.
yeah, that's I got to a point with like everything that I was create like I just burnt out. When the whole pandemic and everything happened in 2020, like there was multiple reasons for like burnout at that point, but like I got so sick and tired of the race of creating content for views because like YouTube was my job. So it's just like everything that I had to create was I had to really like develop it in order to generate revenue from it rather than like have a purpose of helping people, and that burnt me out so incredibly bad. So like if you look back at like the channel like through the past few years or whatever, like I've not put out a lot of content. I've not put out a lot of produced content. And the content that I do put out, like I focus more on trying to provide like practical advice on things, and it does terrible. And it's just like it makes me so frustrated because it's like, no, this is like the stuff that you should actually freaking know, and it performs like absolutely terrible. And it's so frustrating for me because it's like I know that this content that I put like and all the work and whatever information I put in that video is so much better than like I'll give you this perfect example because like I literally just did this like 2 weeks ago. I was talking to Jerry Ozier about this, and I was like, I know one topic. Anytime I talk about this topic, the video will perform well. Anytime I do it, and I could if I wanted to, right, I could just focus on that all the time, and I could get all the views and all the money that I want, right? But I don't do it because it's just clickbait to me. But like the topic is Cisco. So like a couple weeks ago, I did a video out of Cisco, like the CCNA, and it blew out like all like from just recent comparisons, like outperformed everything I've done like in the last like year basically because I talked about this stupid CCNA. And I know anytime I talk about Cisco, it's always going to do well. But like what what's there's no joy in that. There's no like point in that. Like there's no purpose in that other than like self gratification and like seeing numbers go up in a very terrible way rather than like seeing an impact that I would have on somebody. So it's like even like the videos that I have produced that like do terrible, like I know the information in there is good. So like when I do get a comment on those videos to like go back to like how I value or how I see value or measure success, it's just like when I get a comment on one of those videos, it's like, okay, that's all I needed.
Yeah, that's actually I wanted to ask you a question like later in the like at the end, but you mentioned that now, so I think it's a good moment. I moved it a bit up right now. So what you can tell us about burnout preventions, like what are the best ways in your opinion to, I mean, not get burned out? Maybe you have already, because I've been burned out and then I learned a lot how to like I learned a lot of things about my body and my brain and what to not do. And maybe I'm still working on that, but like I have some ideas on what to not. I mean, it's a question like depends, but maybe you have some like your ideas. What would that be?
I I I've burned out often, um, in my life, right? Like, and I think every single time I have burnt out, I've learned something from it, and that's the worst part of it because like I don't know that I ever would have learned what I learned from it if I hadn't burnt out. I don't know if like the whatever in my brain would have clicked if it weren't for me hitting that low point, right? Um, I say that because like I don't know that I can prevent it entirely at this point in my life. Like and I feel like that's like a constant fear for everybody. And I'm grateful or I'm like jealous maybe of people who think that they can prevent burnout. I very happy for you, right? I don't know that I can prevent it. Like it is one of those things that's just like I feel like it is such a hidden thing in a way, or it almost comes out of nowhere and like you never entirely see it all of the way until it's like too late, until you're starting to see the signs. And maybe that I don't know. I It's a hard thing. But I think every time I've learned something from it, I have learned to recognize the signs of it, and I've tried to prepare of like I've tried to like, okay, well, maybe if I slow down a little bit here, maybe if I try to get a little bit more sleep, but like I think it's always come to bite me no matter what.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing. But I think maybe like being a bit present with yourself and like with your body, like trying to like know yourself and like I don't know, maybe journaling or like writing down things how you feel, or I don't know. I think the solution maybe I don't. I wouldn't say that this is like solution like the prevention, and uh, everyone is different and everyone has a different way probably to go about it. But maybe like being more present with yourself, like listening to your body, could be the answer. I don't know what the actual answer is, but like I mean, it's an answer for me. And I do have those like highs and lows. Sometimes I'm like really hyper and I can learn a lot and my brain works faster, but like then I have to go through like this phase of, oh, I don't want to touch my laptop at all. So I don't know what the answer is for that. I hope if someone can tell me, but maybe it's like listening to yourself, being more present with yourself. I don't know. I, I hope that will help someone here. Uh,
Input whipped cream. Sorry,
you
sorry.
got your coffee.
I got my coffee. It says add
Yay!
whipped cream, and there's no whipped cream. That's all right. Sorry.
Yummy. Okay. On your LinkedIn account, I saw that you are mentioning disrupting cybersecurity education. So, can you tell us about your vision for disrupting traditional cybersecurity education? You already probably said that, yeah, already answered that question before. What inspired you to challenge the status quo?
Mostly CompTIA, I think, and a lot of the other certification vendors out there. That's what made me want to challenge the status quo entirely. Just because they're like a constant, everybody knows who they are. They're, gold standards in many ways for the industry, and they're not great. Like they're not at all, representative of what the actual industry is and what should be learned to be even remotely successful in this industry. So when I look at like disrupting, education, it's how do we actually teach people what they need to know to be effective? Like, how do we actually get people's hands on the keyboard doing the things that they should know day number one in their job? Like, that's for me, like the disruptive part of it, right? So, like working at TCM, like that was a very big focus there too. Is like, how do we keep things as practical and hands on and realistic as possible? I think we did a very good job of that there. And like anti-siphon, Black Hills, it's the same thing. It's like the same mission, the same value. Like, how do we keep things as realistic as possible, and how do we keep people's hands on the keyboard? And I think that pushes very much against what we typically see in the industry. Like, try hack me and hack the box have definitely like stepped up for sure. Um, offsec, whatever, I don't know, it's just expensive and ridiculous. I don't
I
necessarily
agree.
think that they stepped up the game, necessarily. I think TCM did a lot to disrupt the industry already. It's like to force that change. Like I truly feel like the impact that we had there then really did change things. So it has been really good to see a lot more training providers out there trying to get more hands on with things in their trainings and stuff like that. But I still don't think anybody is up to where they need to be entirely. And that's us too. Like I feel like there's content that we're missing that like we know of that we're working on right now, so that we can make sure that the industry has it, so the people who are learning have it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like I wanted to comment on what you just said about OffSec that I think they should maybe try harder, not
yeah, right.
uh,
They
yeah,
should
but
try harder.
and also like because when I was trying to like learn from their course, I actually felt it's like I cannot learn from this, and I was pretty much preparing for my OCP with TCM security courses. So yeah, I think you did a good job there, and because they were like explained so well. Sometimes to learn something, I have to watch 3 or 4 courses, and then the fourth one is explained in a way that it just clicks in my brain. But for that one, I was just like one course taking notes, and I already understand everything. So it was a miracle. So
Yeah,
the practical penetration testing course, I loved it.
that's a good one.
Okay, my next one is: are there any specific areas or topics that you believe need more attention in terms of education and training? I mean, yeah, I'm maybe
I,
repeating myself here.
no, you're good. I feel like a lot of my answers have just happened to like correlate with like future questions in this. So I'm sorry for that.
No,
Um,
no, it's okay.
y- I think the biggest thing from a like that, I guess that standpoint is like cybersecurity awareness training. I think that's the one thing that we just struggle on as a whole in this industry. And even fundamental training too. It's like, the technology like exploded, in the last like 30 years, and you still have people in the workforce who just like they never grew up with technology. They don't necessarily understand like how it works and things like that. And they never went through any type of class or course to get like any type of fundamentals for it. They were just like thrown a computer and like here's a computer, figure it out. And that's a huge problem. Nowadays, like, in school, kids are going through like different types of computer classes and things like that, which is hopefully helpful and going to continue to grow and be helpful. um, but I think just overall, like, we're severely lacking on education from, yeah, like especially a cybersecurity perspective, and like, like just like what you should be looking out for and doing and not doing, like, really fun. I don't know. It's like everybody should go through the security plus if they're going to use a computer. It's like almost how I feel, honestly. And I know that's not like a realistic in any way, but like I just wish more organizations would spend time training their users and things. More
Yeah,
schools would spend more time training, especially just like, and again, training more like practical, realistic, real world related information. Like, I don't know.
yeah. I
I don't feel
wish.
like the books and stuff cut it, and like CompTIA just doesn't cut it. So
I wish. I mean, for example, I wish schools taught us like financial education as well, and like
yeah,
things
that
that
too.
we actually like looking for a job, like how to prepare your CV, like things like that. And I mean, we do need math and like biology, all of that, but I feel like most of the things that they teach us at schools just make us mediocre. I don't know. It's like not really what we are learning is not really teaching us to succeed. I have a question in the chat. What is one thing you'd like to see more of in the cybersecurity community?
Diversity,
Nice.
much more diversity. That, hands down. That's it. I'm, I can't give you a better answer than that.
Yeah.
I think that is the one thing that cybersecurity as a whole needs, and that's because we always need other perspectives, different perspectives, and you need diversity to bring that. Otherwise, you're never going to be secure. Like, I, I don't know. I don't know how to better answer that. Like,
Yeah,
that's really what it boils down to.
I do agree with you, and especially as a woman, like going to cybersecurity events and seeing a lineup of like only men and like no women, it's like a bit like makes me sad. It's a bit discouraging, and I wish there would be like more women. And like if I see, I don't know, maybe that's like a weird thing to say, but if I like see a woman that is like successful in cybersecurity, I follow her straight away because I don't know, she's one of the people that are trying to break the ceiling. But I just like I'm talking about women because I'm one, and like that's like real. I see that a lot, and it's kind of like uh yeah, hurting my
No,
feelings a bit, you know. But
yeah.
yeah.
And it's interesting for me, like I can provide this perspective of like every single IT job that I have ever worked, I've worked with women. Like, I've had women as my boss. So it's just like my entire career, I have not known any different. Like, and it was a very much a shock to me. Like, as I got, I would say, further into my career, and then interacting with more women across the world, really, of like understanding like, oh, this this is not normal. Like what I experienced is not normal. And like there are all of these struggles. And that was like so incredibly like frustrating and disheartening for me to see, just because like again, like I didn't have that experience. Like I looked at everybody that I worked with as like they are the most amazing people ever. Like I didn't look at them, like like any different than I would look at anybody else type of thing. So that's why like diversity I think is really really big for me too. Like that's one thing I think just at a human level I don't deal with very well, and I'm very very passionate about that, and I'm very very vocal about those things. So I'll like calm myself down because I do get like I get worked up about this kind of stuff because it's just freaking ridiculous. It's 2026. Like, anyway,
Yeah,
love you. I'm proud of you.
thank you. I'm proud of you too, and like I'm happy to have this conversation actually on like camera live. So saying those things out loud. Yeah, because they are in my heart, kind of, but like not really. I'm not very like maybe vocal about it. That we need more ladies here. Not like a diversity hire, but like there are like many women that are like super smart and capable, and we need your input. But they are not really given chances sometimes even to have a voice. So it's like really making me sad. But to finish this topic in here, I have some closing questions. I'm going to wrap up now. Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll not keep you here for like much longer. So if you weren't working in cybersecurity, what do you think you'd be doing instead?
That's a great question. Um, Probably something marketing related. It'd either be like marketing related, teaching, or social work. I feel like those are yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Thank you. I don't know what I will be doing, but I don't know, maybe something creative. Recently I think like I do have something like in me that I want to create music, so maybe that would be something like that.
It
uh
wouldn't surprise me. I don't know what it is about like cybersecurity people who are all like musicians or want to be musicians, but it blows my mind. Like,
yeah, like I want to be in a band.
yeah, yeah. Y'all think your brains are wired differently. I'm convinced of that. Like,
I think I mean for me it's like something like I have all of those like weird talents that I have. Like I have very good ear for music and like for learning languages. And for example, I learned Dutch in a month to a B2 level. So I'm super fast with like learning languages, and that was like really interesting to discover that. I mean, programming languages are like also like kind of like languages, right? So there's
yeah,
like a pattern to it. I'm very good in noticing patterns. So I don't know, it's like something about me here. Maybe I should like start like creating music. I
yeah.
don't know.
You should.
That's Yeah. I'm really thinking about it. Maybe like some Sunday I would just be brave and like buy like a special keyboard or something, and like start
There
playing
you
with
go.
it.
Yeah, have it right next to you on the desk. You can do that.
Yeah, I do have my guitar there, standing
Yeah,
and like
there's you.
waiting me to touch it again. Uh, if she's saying, "Oh, I'm here, play with me." Okay, but my next question is, if you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be? And you can answer that question in like a private like your private life, or maybe some like professional side of like some professional things you could say there. Like you can pick like answer however you want.
I I don't know. Like I think about this. This is one of those things where I do like I think about like if I could go back in time, what would I change? What would I do different? And it's like knowing what I know now, I don't know that I would. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know what else would change from that. Like I don't, like or what else could if I gave myself some bit of advice, 20 years ago, and that like had an impact on the rest of my like what other things would I have not experienced because of that, you know? I guess I say that because I'm just thankful of like the experiences that I have had, and thankful for to have learned what I have learned. And like while a lot of it sucked, you know, like there were a lot of
Yeah.
terrible years, but it's just like I'm glad that I went through them because I learned a lot from that. Um I think even it's like I feel like in many ways like future Zach visited past Zach many times because like in all of the darkest times of my life, I was constantly just like, you're gonna get through this and it's gonna get better. Like one day it's gonna get better, and I'm still here. So it's just like I think I would just always go back and just keep encouraging myself to move forward and to not give up.
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel like in the past, like future Zach visited me to tell me those things already, like multiple times, because like I've never given up, and that's been very difficult.
And I'm really happy that you're here as well. And yeah,
Thank you.
I wanted to like add from myself that I was actually thinking about that, and I went through so much pain in my life that it would make sense. Like I was like actually thinking, oh, what would happen if I didn't meet this person, or what would happen if I don't know, had like a I don't know different diet, or didn't do this, or like was like better at like sharing my emotions, so I just didn't keep everything in myself, and that made me sick, you know. So uh, I thought about all those things, but I wouldn't be who I am right now. So I mean, it's like all worth it, and it wouldn't be my life would be totally different, and maybe I would be still procrastinating my life away, and I wouldn't be grateful about like waking up in the morning. So it gave me like a different perspective, like looking at things. So uh, I mean, I also like kept asking the question, like, what is your uh, biggest mistake in life, or like your biggest win? Maybe that could be the next question you could answer. But like a lot of people answer it in a way that I don't really think any of it was a mistake because I learned from it. So I think that's an amazing way to answer that question. But like, what is your like answer to that one?
And no, I'm the same way. Like I don't look at like failures as a failure. I look at it as a learning opportunity. Um, like anytime something goes like I always look at everything I can as a learning opportunity and try to pull the positive from it. And that's something I think I just learned over life of like I have to have that mindset. Otherwise, like I'll go down a a terrible way, like a terrible dark hole, basically, right? So yeah, even though like failure sucks or losing sucks or like whatever, like that, you know, it's like, okay, but what could I have done differently? What could I have done better? What were the things that like the positives that I can take from this? Because I can't sit and dwell on like the failure of it, the suckiness of it. That's not going to get me anywhere, and that's not going to do anything for me. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that kind of answers that entirely.
Yeah, it does. I think. Yeah, I did have like those experiences, like very very negative experiences where I just like ended up just like crying or like suffering afterwards. But then I got to like a point in my life when I guess I got like emotionally intelligent enough to come out of a very bad experience with a question: what did it teach me? What did I take out of it? You know, so it just not to just I don't know, lie on the bed for like months and like suffer, because not that's not. I don't think that's the point of being here on Earth. But like learning something from the experience and like taking that knowledge uh, in the life, like moving forward from like place of wisdom, and like yeah, looking at my future like experiences with like different lens in a way.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the most positive way that you can look about it, right? Like, or the most and that optimistic and all of those things. Because if you look at it any other way, um, I mean, depending on, I guess, how people react on it, like, it could just be it could just be like a downfall for you, right? It could just lead to, like, just more negativity, and it's so incredibly hard to, like, change your mindset. It's so difficult because I was, like, often the person who would always look at the negative before I would ever look at the positive. Like, I legitimately probably, like, the first 25 years of my life, 30 years of my life, maybe even, like, I was always looking at the negative, and that was always the very first thing that came to my mind. And that's what I would, like, focus on rather than, like, let me try to, like, look at a positive before I can reflect, like, look at the negative. Because if I can look at a positive from it first and, like, try to focus on that positive first, like, by the time I get to processing the negative, I've in some way, like, calm myself down enough to, like, keep that the keep, like, the more positive vibes, I guess. I don't know if this makes sense to
Yeah, it
anybody, but,
does.
like, this is, like, how I go about it, and I feel like just making that change has helped. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, a lot of times, like, the negative comes to my head immediately, but, like, it's, like, literally, like, stopping yourself, and I have to do this all the time, stop myself and say, "Okay, what's good from this, though?" And, like, that just, like, very, like, simple but incredibly difficult, like, mind shift, whatever, like, has been incredibly helpful for me.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you're doing a good job here, and that's what it's all about. And I don't know if you believe that, but actually, our brains, or I read about this, our brains are wired in a way that we think negative first, but it also, and we are designed to think negative, like, I don't know, all the time, kind of like it's a suck. Our brains kind of suck, but it takes a lot of effort for you to think like change that mindset and rewire your brain and think positive. So how I think of
And
it
on
is
that,
like,
sorry.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
yeah. Just to finish my sentence, how I think of this is like the first thought doesn't matter, but what you do next, I think matters. Please go ahead.
It's kind of along the maybe the same lines in a way. Like, I think part of, like, this feeling too also resonates to, like, I am the first person to own a mistake as well. Like, I am the very first person to say, "Yep, I screwed up. It was me. I did it. I will claim it. I will own it. That is my responsibility." And that's something that's very, very difficult for people to do. Like, that uh, and I think if people, anybody watching, like, they, this, right? Like, that. You could think of, like, 10 people off the top of your head who just, like, never in their life have owned up to a mistake, right? Um, that owning your mistakes is a learning experience in itself in so many different levels. It will teach you more about yourself and more about everybody in your life than anything else. Like, it is such a weird thing. And again, I can know nobody wants to do that because it's embarrassing sometimes. But holy crap, will it make you think about things differently? Like, it really will. Um,
Yeah,
and, like, you'll never make those mistakes again either. Is one of those things too.
yeah, because I think
Oh,
like
exploitation! Come on now. Sorry, they said I'd own mistakes if I ever made one.
yeah.
That's, yeah.
But actually, I think it's a very human instinct to like want to defend yourself, and I don't know, it depends maybe on like emotional development level of a person, but I think we have this instinct to point fingers at, point the blame at other people, and not actually seeing yourself like that you're maybe like a part of the problem, and maybe the issues like lies in the middle of it, and you're like a part of it. I don't know. I think it's like something like in the middle usually, and not like my fault entirely, not like their fault entirely, but you have to like I don't know, be like open minded sometimes.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
my
agree.
next question is thank you for answering like amazing conversation. I really love that you're sharing all of that and like being like you're being vulnerable with us in here. And so I have a question that maybe you can share a bit about yourself more. And so the question is, what's something you're passionate about that most people don't know?
Mm, Music, probably. Yeah, that's um, eh, basic music is always like on, and no matter like everything I'm doing, like I constantly have to have like music going, and I'm very much like into like the lyrics of things, so it's very much an emotional experience for me, and that has a lot of impacts on my life. So like for some people, like my brother, for instance, he doesn't listen to music. He doesn't care about music. Like it's not his thing. And I don't understand that. I do not understand people who do not like music. Like I do not understand that. Like it's like crazy to me because like how do you not like sometimes just like bop to the beat or something, like even like music that I just do not like, like there might be some kind of beat or something and I'm just going to it because it's like it's good or like the lyrics are just like good, and I don't know. But like, yeah, the emotional impact that has, that music has on me has been always a very positive thing, um, and like a helpful tool for me. I feel like, yeah, it's probably been like a comfort maybe thing too or something, it's like whatever. But I listen to a lot of heavy metal, so like like soothing and whatever. But it's just like no, like that stuff like actually calms me down. Like it really truly will calm me down. I could be like the angriest person in the world, and I'll put on like screaming and like super fast guitars and heavy drums, and it calms me down. It doesn't make me more angry or more excited. It puts me at more of an even level of where I need to be. And there's not a lot of things in life that I think can do that. And yeah, so yeah, that's a huge passion of mine. So it's something I
Oh,
definitely could talk about for a long time. But yeah,
high five, because I listen to metal too, and it kind of like puts me to sleep. So it's like a weird, it's a
oh
weird
yeah,
experience.
yeah.
But also like
I can listen to it falling asleep all like often. Like yeah, it does not have that effect on me. So yeah, I agree. Sorry.
I also like notice like what you feed yourself with, then like your mood is like made of. So it can be like food or but actually I noticed that music that is like very depressing lyrics or like very sad, it makes me sad. Like who would have thought, So now I have like playlists that like I'll call like positive reinforcement and stuff like that I listen to when I like I'm in a bad mood, and then I'm not in a bad mood anymore, because music helps. Okay, so my
Yep.
next question is, what is your favorite hacker movie? Do you have one?
Hackers.
Yeah, you already said
The
that.
hackers, yeah. I mean, yeah, I have in binary on my arm. I don't know if you'll probably not be able to see it. Just yeah, I won't be able to move the angle of the camera probably, but in binary on my arm here, it says "hack the planet," which is super cheesy, but
It's so cool.
that was something that was like hackers again. Like that movie to was important to me even before like technology was ever like my interest, so it's like that for me, like that movie just always has like a very special place in my heart. So yeah,
There is a question in the chat for that.
hackers versus sneakers, yeah, hackers, I'm sorry. That's again what I grew up with was like 10 or 11 I think when that movie came out. So
Yeah, there's
and it
like
had
very
Angelina Jolie in it, like back in, like I was just like a huge fan of hers for sure.
yeah.
um it was, yeah.
Yeah, actually, full disclosure, I actually watched that movie for her, especially,
Yeah,
and it was like, oh, she's so cool.
yeah.
Okay, my next question. Thank you for answering. That's a great answer, and I do agree with you. It's a great movie. What is your favorite food or dish?
Pizza for sure. I'm basically live in Chicago, Illinois, you know,
Wow,
so
it's the best
the
pizza.
home of like yeah, right? That's what I hear. I would agree with, probably. But yeah, pizza, like any kind of pizza is that's my go-to for sure. Because you can
So,
just put like everything on there. Like
yeah,
I love vegetable pizza. Like that's actually my all-time favorite pizza is veggie pizza. So it's like, I might oftentimes I'll like to get like pepperoni or sausage on it or something just to get a little bit more protein. But like that's yeah, my favorite.
yeah. So if like it's like Chicago is like the, I don't know, paradise for pizza lovers, because if someone
Mm.
likes pizza, you get like a deep dish of pizza. So it's
Yep.
like three times more pizza that you will like usually get, and it's like so much cheese in it, and like I love it. So like the
Yep.
whole idea of like a deep dish pizza is blows my mind. When I like
Yeah.
first tried it, I was like, wow, this is amazing, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't do the deep dish pizza anymore because there's way too much red sauce in there for me. I'm just too old to handle that now. Get that heartburn.
Yeah, but
Sucks getting old.
yeah, I like your knees make sounds that you never knew are possible, right?
I was just walking up the stairs earlier and my back, every time I would take a step up to go up, my back was like making a click noise. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm
What's
getting over the
happening?
hill now." Yeah.
Okay, last question. Do you have any questions for me to wrap it up?
Uh, I think I asked the most important question that I had for you when we started. Like that was like the main question that I had for you is I really wanted to know how you felt um, about where you are at with things and how you're feeling working at Black Hills. That's
Yeah,
what I wanted.
actually, I can answer that again, because I don't think I answered it fully.
I
So
just say I have to go at in 6 minutes to a meeting. Just to let you
yeah,
know.
yeah, I
Sorry.
will not be very chatty about it, but like I had like a few months to like adjust to the idea of working at Black Hills, because I was like still like, I don't know, 6 months in. I was like, I still cannot believe it. Like how did I pull that off? So yeah, that was my answer actually. So I wanted to thank you for coming on my podcast and like sharing everything that you shared with us, sharing all of your knowledge. I don't know, your awesomeness as well, your zackiness. I don't know. I really love you as a person, and I'm really happy that we got to chat here. And yeah, all best to you. I hope only success in your future, happiness, and like no struggles, or maybe I don't know, maybe some struggles are necessary for our growth, but with
Yeah.
moderation, I guess. So I
Yeah.
wanted to thank you. And if you want to say something at the end, like a short sentence, like this is your moment. But other than that, I'm going to close up now.
Just thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And again, I'm so incredibly proud of you and I'm so happy for you. And it's truly an honor to be here with you and to work with you as well. So thank you again. And thank you, everybody. Appreciate y'all. And good luck to you out there in your journey.
Thank you. And like I'm going to wave now and change the screen. So thank you again, and like bye. Yeah.